All right, guys. Fulu coming to you with another video, continuation onto the Epstein files. Ah, God, I wish I had some better news, but I don't, unfortunately. You know, I wish I had better news, but I don't. One may ask, how do these files affect Africans? I'm gonna tell you how it affects Africans. There will be more. Um, there will be more distractions. Okay, there will be more distractions in regards to this. Sorry about that. People over 40 know is ChatGPT. Disappear for a month and do this instead. Nigeria breaking. So the thing is that now, right? There have been two major events that have occurred. Two major events that have occurred in the last 24 hours. And there will be more. There will be more, unfortunately, more events to occur. Unfortunately, there will be more events to occur. Okay? Now, event number one, I would like to take a moment to actually reflect on the martyrdom of Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, rahimahullah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive him for his sins, forgive him for his transgressions, and I ask Allah to have mercy on him, and I ask Allah to give him paradise. Now, there was actually a recording that came out with him, and he basically alluded to, hey, Libya is in control of Americans now. He said, like, Libya, oh, the country is in control of Americans. I'm trying to take it back. So that's one thing he said. He was like, I want to take the country back. And then secondly, he said that I want to continue what my dad was going to do, meaning that he wanted to switch to a gold standard currency. He still wanted to carry that plan out. The problem is he didn't have the power to do so because of the militias that are controlling the country currently. If you look at Libya right now, Libya is like a mafia type thing, if you want to be honest. Ironically, Gaddafi's name came up in the Epstein files, but he never did meet with Epstein. What they were trying to do is they were trying to just figure out how to steal his money, which they have done so. That's what they were trying to figure out. They wanted to steal his money, and they have since done that. Now, another thing that came out about the murder of Gaddafi, and Allah have mercy on him, Gaddafi's son, I mean, and his name is Saif al-Islam, by the way. What came out, okay, what came out is that the militia who murdered him, right, was Turkish backed. Ironically enough, Turkey was supplying children to the Epsteins. Turkey was supplying children to the Epsteins, and I'm not going to say it was just tens and twenties. It was actually hundreds of them. It's no coincidence that they were the ones to take Saif al-Islam out. Unfortunately, he was gunned down. He was gunned down, and you know, uh, the thing is that this is sad, and this is um, a step back, basically. You know, if you look at Libya now, right? Libya right now is not even a functioning country. It doesn't even have a one central government. It has, you have Misrata, right? You have Benghazi, right? You have Tripoli, right? And then you have Fezzan. And these places are separate. These places, they, as a matter of fact, they're rival to each other. In other words, they're kind of rival to they're vying for power amongst each other, so they're not even connected um, together as brothers, so to say. You know. So, with that being said, expect Libya to become like an ATM. They're just gonna America, the light thereof. They're just gonna keep on siphoning funds from Libya, and then on top of that, you have, anytime America backs you to do something, just know that you're on the wrong side of history. So you have, or Europe, for that matter. So um, you have Europe, you have Europe. They're actually um, backing Libya to be a oil producing success, backing Libya to be a early a I want to say a just basically a high having the highest output in Africa. And the reason why they're doing this, I'm going to tell you why. Dan Gote, he decided to take the bull by the horns, and he decided that he was going to he decided that he was going to, I want to say, do it on his own. He decided upon himself that, you know what, I'm just going to produce oil instead of keep on importing oil. And so that shook the whole thing. And Europe didn't like it, and America didn't like it. Okay. As much as these Americans and Europeans say that, Africa has to get its act together, Africa has to do this, Africa has to do that, they really still want Africa subservient to them. They don't want us to, for example, build something that Gaddafi was trying to build something that the AES was trying to build. Okay. And speaking of which, I'm going to segue into that right now. With the AES, there was a terrorist attack on the airport. In the Epstein files, we just got word that the Islamic extremist groups such as Al Qaeda and such as ISIS were indeed assets for, you guessed it, the very people who claim they're trying to fight terrorism, right? So, with that being said, the attack on the Niger airport, and it's crazy because I was actually supposed to go to Niger, but now that may that may have to change, unfortunately. But the fact that they wanted to attack the airport, basically, um, and but they were pushed away. That's the good news. The attack, I think they damaged some things, but they were eventually pushed away. The fact that and yes, Al Qaeda in Maghreb has made claims. ISIS in Maghreb has made claims that yes, they were indeed responsible for the attack. They were responsible for the attack. Okay. Um, so what needs to be said now is you segue to Nigeria, and now, unfortunately, U.S. troops are on the ground in Nigeria. And this is the typical playbook from the presidents when they get caught with their pants down. You see what happened with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, right? What does he do? He starts to attack military targets in the Middle East, I believe. I wasn't even thought of back then when this happened. And then he attacks Sudan. He attacks a pharmacy in Sudan, actually. He attacks a medical plant in Sudan. It wasn't even any terrorist activity going on there, right? So now you're seeing the same thing repeat itself, which will be bad for the whole Sahel. Because what I think these people are going to do, and I hope Nigeria does not do this, but um, it also has came out that France has given the green light and has been given the green light by, I think, Western powers that if needed be, they can take out, um, I want to say, presidents that are not running on their protocol. And we saw that with the attack on the Niger airport, the Niamey airport. So now you have a situation where you're having a U.S. presence in the Sahel, whereas when they were in the Sahel before, they didn't help stop terrorism at all. Be it they were in Mali, be it that they were in Niger, be it in these places, the U.S. military personnel, the French military personnel did not fight terrorism. So I think at this point, this president of Nigeria, Tinubu, he knows he's compromised. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. That's why he's allowing them to come into Nigeria and things like that, because he knows he's compromised, okay? He knows that if, for example, right, if he were to say, no way, I'm not letting y'all in my country, if he were to say, we got this, then that means there would be even a more uptick on terrorist attacks, believe it or not. There would be more terrorist attacks if he did this. So this is like essentially now he's compromised, and there's really nothing that can be done at this point, basically. And it's sad, but this is where we are in this situation right now. It's very sad, but this is what it is now. This is definitely what it is as of right now. The one thing that hopefully Nigeria does not do is allow the U.S. to build a base there. That would be the biggest mistake if they allow it to happen. If they allow them to build a base, it's going to be bad. But I'm going to end this video by saying that they're essentially they're essentially coming into Nigeria to help the the further the insurgencies in the Sahel region to take out the AES. That's what they're doing, because now, you have, ironically, after that airstrike on Niamey Airport, now you have America wanting to re engage with these countries: Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali. So, they won't leave us alone. I've come to realize this, that they won't leave us alone. They they just won't. They won't leave. They just can't. They can leave us alone. They just choose not to leave us alone. Um, so with that being said, again, they talk about like black fatigue, but they never talk about colonizer fatigue, or they never talk about Wyatt fatigue, and we're at it again. Um, inshallah, I'm going to be in Africa during Ramadan, so I'm going back home to visit my parents, visit my family, inshallah, um, and do some stuff over there. I'll be there probably during. Yes, I will be there during Ramadan, inshallah. I'll report from there. I'll give you guys some information on the ground. And while I won't get involved in politics, what I will do is I will try to call out the hypocrisy of America, the hypocrisy of France, and all these places, and I'll try to use a platform there to do so. If anything, I may have to build a platform there to do it. Maybe me and someone else, we may have to build a platform to do it. you know. But anyhow, Fuller signing out. John Rama.